Hey, what's up guys, this is Chris with Android Espionage, back with another video. Thanks for returning to my channel, and today we're going to do something that's pretty exciting for me, and it is the LG G5 review. So, a lot of you have been asking for this, and I know I've promised this for a while, and we're going to jump into that right now. Now, if you've been an LG fan or an LG consumer since around 2013, then you'll be very familiar with their design language ever since then on all their flagships and budget models, and they've had a few things that they've been really known for, like rear-mounted home and volume buttons, removable backs, expandable storage, great cameras, etc. And you can actually take most of what you know about LG's series and kind of toss it out the window, because with this generation, a lot has changed. So just getting into a few of the changes, they've actually started off with the overall design of the phone, and it's now an all-metal unibody design. Now, there's been a lot of controversy and rumors, and I'm sure you've heard them all, and I've heard them all, but I'm here to tell you that yes, this is an all-metal phone. I've heard it all, but for sure it is a metal phone, and the reason why it has come under such controversy is because it doesn't feel like you're touching metal. It feels very plasticky in the hand. Now, the reason behind this is because LG uses a process they call microdizing in their manufacturing, where they apply a layer of paint and primer to the phone. So yes, while this is an all-metal phone, it's not going to feel like an all-metal phone. It's gonna feel a bit different than when you're touching an HTC 10 or an HTC M9 or a Nexus 6P. So part of the reason behind this decision to process this way is the fact that they wanted to have an almost seamless design. There still are a few seams on the device, and they've really done a bang-up job of hiding the antenna bands that have been shown on iPhones and HTC phones, etc. And the only place you can really see them is on those chamfered edges, which isn't really my favorite because it kind of looks like the paint's chipping off the phone and it kind of looks damaged, but it's really not. Those are the antenna bands. So getting into the back of the phone, you see your main home button that actually doubles as a capacitive fingerprint sensor. So you don't actually need to press it down to actually unlock your phone. All you need to do is hold your finger there, and it works like magic. It's super fast, super responsive, although it does feel a little cheap and plasticky and does wiggle a little bit and do a little bit of rattling. So it's not my favorite fingerprint scanner on the phone, but it really gets the job done well, and it's super responsive. Now, what you'll notice that's missing is the volume up and volume down keys that have been moved over to the left of the phone. Now, this is totally a personal preference, and this is me just being very nitpicky, but I do prefer the volume rocker either on the back of the phone or on the right side. Although I'm a left-handed user, I do use my phone right-handed, and I just feel like it's a much more natural feeling to actually have those volume buttons on the right-hand side of the phone. There is decent feedback on these volume buttons, and there is a decent amount of travel, although they could have been more. They're definitely no HTC 10 by any means, but they'll do the trick. On the top of the phone, you'll see your 3.5mm headphone jack. Right next to that IR blaster that's been kind of making some minor waves, because Samsung, who has been known for having an IR blaster, has gotten rid of theirs and LG has kept theirs. If you get into the bottom of the phone, you'll actually see that USB Type-C charging port that's great for faster data transfers and faster charging speeds, and it's fully reversible. So if you're like me, who gets it wrong on the first plug, you have no problem switching over to this, although you will have to invest in some new cables. Right next to that USB Type-C port is your bottom firing speaker, and the speaker gets super loud and is really rich and has some really good audio quality. I would prefer a front-mounted speaker or dual speakers, but we haven't gotten that in this generation. And one of the reasons is I find myself oftentimes when I'm watching video or watching a movie or even listening to music with my phone in my hand, I find that I oftentimes muffle a speaker and cover it with my palm. So it's super easy to do that, and it happens a lot to me. So this year LG has slightly reduced the size of the screen on the LG G5, going from a 5.5-inch screen to a 5.3-inch screen. It is an IPS LCD display with a Quad HD resolution, and to be honest, it's not the brightest screen in the world. It's definitely not the Samsung Galaxy S7 or S7 Edge or the iPhone 6s, but it is totally usable even in direct daylight, and I can't get by with that. It really displays vivid colors and has really accurate color reproduction, and is also very sharp with a pixel density of 2560 by 1440. Although I am a big screen kind of guy, the reduction in screen size for some reason didn't bother me all too much, and I really had a pleasure using the screen and watching video and consuming media on it, and yeah, I think it was really great. The LG G5 is rocking 32 gigabytes of internal memory and is expandable via micro SD to 2 terabytes of storage. Not that any 2 terabyte cards exist, but I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it, so that is a win for LG. One of the things that's really changed for LG this generation around is the camera setup. So in the middle you have your dual camera setup and your laser autofocus, flanked by 2 cameras this year around. So you have your main camera, which is a 16 megapixel shooter with OIS built in and an aperture of f1.8. So that's gonna really do well in low light performance and kind of help retain some of that quality when you're taking shots at nighttime or in a dark room. The secondary camera is used for wide angle shots, so it performs super well, and this has really become one of my favorite features on the LG G5. And although it is an 8 megapixel sensor, it still retains a lot of image quality and accurate colors, and it really was a pleasure to use if you are in a group setting and you want to take a big group photo, or if you're at a baseball game or a football game and you want to get that big wide angle shot. This is really ideal, and it really works super well, and I find myself using this a lot. Now, if you've used the camera features in the LG G4, you're really going to feel at home with this software in the LG G5. It gives a very similar experience. There are a ton of modes such as panorama mode, auto mode, simple mode, and manual mode like a DSLR if you want that kind of control in your camera and you're used to using a DSLR. You get a similar experience here with settings for the white balance, exposure, shutter speeds, and etc, so on and so forth. Now, as far as the main camera goes, I really pushed it through its paces over the past couple of weeks, and I have really taken a ton of time with this camera. And if you guys want to see a separate review of the camera, just give me a thumbs up and let me know in the comment section. Now, this camera really does perform super well. It's probably the best smartphone camera I've ever used, and in the daytime it really shines. As I said before, color reproduction is really great. It retains so much detail. All your images look sharp, rich, and it's a really enjoyable experience. I really don't know how to use all the manual controls, so I'm still learning that, but I'm taking baby steps and I find myself improving as a smartphone photographer. Low light performance on the LG G5 has been really great because of that super wide f1.8 aperture, and that allows more light to get into your shot. That way you don't have to rely on flash all the time. One thing I've noticed when it comes to low light situations is that some of the darker areas can have a bit of noise in the shot, and highlights can actually be blown out and overexposed. The LG G5 has been a real pleasure to shoot video on, and you have all kinds of resolutions. It goes all the way up to 4K resolution. For you 4K lovers out there, that'll be no problem for you. Although my only complaint was that it can only record 4K video up to 5 minutes. 1080p has actually been no problem to record on, and believe it or not, this entire review has actually been recorded in 1080p on the LG G5. LG has put in a 2800 mAh battery into their device. It's not as big as the other competitors like Samsung or Motorola, for instance, but it does get the job done, and I'm often able to get a day or sometimes more of battery life out of it, so having battery life is no issue with the G5. Now, in case you are one of those road warriors who needs to go from 0 to 100 as soon as possible on your battery, then the battery is fully replaceable and removable. So you can actually just snap the battery off the bottom compartment and swap it out for a fresh one. Now, having this modular design does have a lot of benefits to it. LG has come out with some accessories that they like to call friends. One of these peripherals is a hi-fi audio DAC and amp, while the other is a camera grip that you plug into the bottom, and that gives you more control over your camera experience for things like zooming, video recording, and a physical shutter button. LG is also selling other accessories such as a VR headset that is super slim and compact and attaches via the USB Type-C cord, and also a camera for 360-degree filming. Now, getting into what's under the hood, the LG G5 is rocking the latest and greatest Snapdragon 820 processor, 4GB of RAM, and the Adreno 530 GPU for graphics performance. I've got to say, this makes for a super fast, snappy, and responsive phone. I've had absolutely no hiccups with the LG G5 whatsoever, and I've had a really enjoyable experience using it because there's literally almost no lag. So it's really amazing to use, and you'll have no problem with performance. Even when I'm playing games or watching high definition videos, it performs like a boss. Now, one of the big changes to come to LG's flagship is the lack of an app drawer. So overall, they do have a cleaner experience for the software side of things, so they made the settings a lot simpler, and they've overall provided a really clean UI for us to use. But that lack of an app drawer could be a deal breaker for a lot of people, and I know for a fact I was not happy with that because I need an app drawer. Many of you might feel the same way, but some of you might not have a problem with it, especially if you're coming from iOS. If you're like me and you absolutely need that app drawer access, then there are a few ways you can get it back. One of them being downloading LG's own Home 4.0, and that kind of brings you back to the LG G4 kind of software experience. Or if you're like me, then you can also download a third-party app launcher such as Nova Launcher or Go Launcher or Apex Launcher. All of the above will work. I personally use the Nova Launcher Prime, and it's only like $4 in the Play Store. Definitely pick that up. And with that, I'm also able to customize my LG G5 to have more of a stock Android feel, which I prefer. As I said before, they did clean up the software a bunch, and it is an overall more attractive and easier experience to use, the LG G5, but there are some sacrifices. They've got rid of a few things such as multitasking for different windows, and this might not be a huge deal because there are rumors that Google actually plans to launch this as a native feature in Android in a later generation, so we might actually be getting that back, who knows. Now, despite some software changes, LG has kept a few things the same that they've been known for, such as customizable home buttons so you can lay them out however you want. Q-side apps make a return as well, along with an adjustable keyboard that you can make bigger or smaller according to your needs. Overall, the LG G5 is a really solid phone, and I've really had a blast using it, and it is an overall enjoyable experience despite some flaws. Now, the LG G5 isn't going to win any awards in the looks department, but a lot of you might not be looking for the next iPhone or Samsung in the looks department. Personally, I didn't like the look of the phone at first, but you can also put a skin or a case over it. Me personally, having the phone naked, it's actually grown on me, so it actually doesn't look too bad. If you want that all-metal design with the latest flagship specs, such as the Snapdragon 820 processor and a fingerprint scanner, and have a removable battery too, then this is definitely a great phone. The camera experience on top of that is really icing on the cake, and like I said, it's a great phone and I would definitely recommend it. Now, if you do need other features such as waterproofing or dustproofing, or you want that really beautiful design language, then this might not be the phone for you. Or if you want a bigger screen phone, this might not be the phone for you. And you might want to consider other options as well, such as the Samsung Galaxy S7 and S7 Edge, the iPhone 6s, and the HTC 10 right now. Alright then guys, this just about wraps it up for the review of the LG G5. Please drop a like, comment below in the comment section if you have any questions or concerns. Let me know, would you actually spend your own money on this phone? And if you have already, what are your thoughts on the LG G5? Is it similar to my experience, or do you have something completely different? Be sure to share this video with your friends and hit that subscribe button. Have your friends hit it too. And be sure to catch me in the next one. Guys, this is Chris with Android Espionage, and take care. Peace out.